Welcome to another episode of Health Your Way podcast, where we discuss health issues ranging from physical, mental, emotional, as well as current fads. Today, we're going to be discussing about how I ditched my fad diets and rediscovered my love of food with my guest, Candace. Thank you for joining us. One of the reasons why I asked Candace to join for viewers and listeners is that a lot of people have been sending me emails or making comments about how they want to see not a health professional per se, but somebody that looks like them, that have gone through, their own health journey and what they've done and how they've done it. So this is why I invited Candace to join us. Thank you, Candace, for joining us. Thank you. For the viewers and listeners, give us a little background of who you are so they can relate to a certain extent.
Okay, so I'm Candace. I actually just turned 44 a few weeks ago.
Yes, birthday.
Thank you. I have been in the profession of construction and that for most of my life.
Wow.
So I am, in hands-on. I do project management now, but in essence, that's what I grew up with. I also grew up with migraines. So that's my real struggle. I used to have 25 a month, and it was...
No, hold on, 25?
Yeah, pretty much. I only knew the difference of... Well, to be honest, it probably was a whole entire month with residual pain, all that kind of thing that happens. And you become chronic to the point that you no longer know the difference, right? So that's it's a chronic pain. It turns into other type of things. And until you can, depending on what you believe in, stop the signal from your brain to your body to your brain, it just keeps going because it expects it. So I did a lot of things to stop that. I did try different doctors and different medicines and all that, but found nothing really took. And it didn't take because I wasn't looking after the whole body, the holistic part, right? And that's where food comes in. I needed to get rid of things that were inflammation, that are in our foods, like dairy and red meat. But I also wanted to be able to do it myself.
Okay.
Didn't want a dietitian. I didn't want to have to take out food. I didn't want to have to, which we'll get into, people bringing me food and things like that. I want to be able to do it myself, and I am very busy, right? So I have my full-time job, and I have a side hustle and all this time. I don't want to sit here and do a lot of cooking for hours and hours. And I also don't want to get bored. And that is kind of what led me to the direction of clean eating.
Okay.
And clean eating in the form of everything, not just whole foods, so not just your protein and your veggies, but in your seasoning and spices and sauces and all that. And that is actually what was killing me, was broths and seasonings and things like this, stuff that you buy in the store because of the sodium and MSG and other things your body doesn't need that are packed in there. And that's what was killing me. So the moment I removed that and brought in really clean seasonings, which is my side hustle, Epicure. That's what that is all about. That led me into realizing I could meal prep, that I could make takeout food myself, faster, easier, quicker, and that's what led me down the direction of what I do today, which is meal prepping and planning, and sharing my tips on that, because I've gone through this now for 6 or more years. I've kind of figured out a few tips and a few things that can help others. So there's kind of me in a nutshell.
Great introduction. I guess then let's step up a bit. A lot of people are like, okay, so now you meal prep. So at one point, you had to ditch the fad diet. So how many fad diets have you tried, and how did you feel on those ones?
So a lot of, I haven't tried I will say I have tried a lot. I have tried probably enough to count on my hand.
Okay.
Some of them I look at and I go in and go, okay, I could do this, but now it means I have to spend how much money a week on food, right? That's my thought process. And then it was like, okay, but I can't eat certain things. So for me, who has dietary restrictions of no dairy and no onions and things like that, having someone bring me food just doesn't work. And I've done this since I was a child, because I can't even handle people cooking for me for more than a couple of days. So I didn't go to dorm room when I went to university or anything like that, because I can't handle someone else cooking for me, and I haven't ever. So all right off the bat, I had to say no to the ones that bring me food. So then I'm like, what else could I try? I'm like, let's try these other ones that promise that you're eating whole foods, that you're staying away from processed food and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, good. This is good. But then you get down to it and it's like, but 2 of your meals are shakes, or you have to keep adding all these powders or supplements into it. And I'm like, okay, but the whole point of eating whole foods is so that I don't have to have supplements because our whole food is full of that. So I don't understand why I'm giving you more like $300 a month and I still have to spend $300 on food. So like a lot of it was like cash flow, totally will admit that, but I'm still just looking at like, so what happens when I can't afford it anymore, or that's not a priority, or I think I got it, and then I no longer purchase from you. What happens? I'm going to go back to the way I was before, right? I'm not going to follow this diet anymore. Or they restrict you. Well, they restrict you, which is so not a good thing. So there's guilt, there's shame, there's, if you eat that, you're a bad person. Like that's the mentality I get from these people who say you have to do this and you have to be on, can't have dairy, you can't have this, which is fine. I don't do dairy, but it's the same concept when they say to you, well, you can't eat any of these things this month, but the next month you can go ahead and go back and start eating them. I'm like, no, it shouldn't work that way, right? Because your body, as soon as you eliminate something from your body, and if it's the thing causing you the problems, like say, for example, dairy or gluten, you try to go back, what does your body do?
It
goes,
rejects
whoa,
it.
whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to stick to it, which is fine because maybe that's the problem. But so many of us fail or fall off that wagon because we're deprived of things.
Yes.
And instead of depriving, why not just create something better? So if sugar is your thing, focus on fruit or something that gives you that same trigger, that same, not trigger, but reward.
That feel, yeah, I know that, yes, I understand. So basically you're saying that you kind of ditched those fat diets because they weren't sustainable for you. Like they made you feel like it affected you emotionally because they were like, okay, you can't do that. Then you're restricted. And then cost factors, it's not sustainable altogether.
Exactly. And then what ends up happening, a lot of the weight we hold on ourselves or is emotional weight. So the stress of being, your cortisol levels are too high, but the stress of things. So if you're if your diet is stressing you out as much as the rest of your life is stressing you, then I don't know how you expect it to work. So you are more than likely going to fail. And then that is more stress on you, which then causes you to probably put more weight on instead of.
So it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
You're passionate. This, like you're like, are these people serious?
When you offer me this, I'm like, ooh.
I think okay, so then we get it, like, and we can tell from you that you've tried it and you're like, this is not working. And a lot of people have to realize that some of it may not be sustainable. If it works for other people, that's on you. That's really on you. And we're happy for you. We're proud of you. And I think what a lot of people is that some of the questions I've been asked in previous time is, and I was going to ask you is, how hard was it to start to change your mentality? Like how hard, like what was your, like how did you start changing your mentality to finally start meal prepping and to find something that works for you per se?
Well, one is it's you have to get to the core of whatever it is that's bothering you in the first place. So for me growing up, it was being told, if you're thin, you're happy. If you're thin, you're liked. If you're thin, you're special. Like this.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. So that guilt or that shame upon me, coming from a family that we're larger boned. I'm a big person. Yeah, I totally admit I was thin when I was a child, but you could tell I'm a big bone person. This is what happens. You're going to put some weight on. And I'm okay with this now. But back then it was like any little weight was, you're no longer special. You're no longer going to be liked. So then you listen to the noise that goes out there, right? You listen to the diets and the fads and the follow me and the do this. And what worked with me was getting to the core of that thin conversation, this piece, the unworthiness, the thin thing, and then realizing I can make my own plan. And the moment I'm firm in my plan, that noise went away. I no longer hear any of that anymore. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is working great. You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's great for you, but this is working for me. And it was step by step, little habit changes. It's not taking it on all at once. It's like little step, like simply as I schedule time to schedule what I'm going to eat for that week. That
Listen
takes
to
10
her.
minutes.
Hold on. Listen to her. For all those people out there, listen to her. No, I can't. No, repeat that, please. So you have to understand. Please, go.
Schedule your scheduling. So literally, you already do it, right? If you're a parent or anything like that, and you're an entrepreneur, anything where you're scheduling your appointments, you're scheduling your hockey dates or whatever, play dates, schedule in the food to go along with all of that, right? So if you're out, okay, no problem, you're out, but can you take snacks? Maybe, I don't know, right? Think about that. Breakfast, are you a grab and go kind of person? You got to run out the door, have that set. But if you can just visualize it while you're doing everything else, you're like, you know what? We're home tonight. Let's make a nice, I don't know, pot roast. Whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to eat. But the scenario is, but if you're coming home every night going, I don't know what to eat. Oh my God, let's just grab takeout, because you open the fridge and there's nothing there, or it's stuff not prepared for you. You'll be like, I don't know what to eat. And you've used up all your energy all day long already making decisions. Simplify this one. So just schedule your scheduling.
So basically,
And then,
and for other people,
yeah.
I just want, basically what you're saying, if you want to start up, and this is how you start up, is you have to plan. You have to make time for it. That's what she's saying. Please,
Yeah.
please, this is the most important thing. You cannot succeed unless you plan. Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry.
So I'm just going to say, many of you out there probably know about time blocking, where you set in your calendar that you're doing certain things, certain parts of the day. You do that to prioritize, right? To say to yourself and to the world, in essence, I can't do anything else because this is the time frame I'm exercising, or this is the time frame I'm spending with my children, whatever it is. So why not put in meal planning and prep into your calendar as well? So therefore it's a priority to yourself, but to the world as well. Like that you are saying, this is the priority, that I make my own food for certain meals of the week or whatever it is, right? So, and you don't have to meal prep your whole entire week. Like there is no need to have 100 little prep containers. You don't have to do all that. Prepping is simply just knowing what's in your fridge already.
Yes.
Like your protein is portioned out, your vegetables are cut and ready, not sauces, things like that. That's prepping. It doesn't mean everything's cooked, right?
I understand. And I guess, honestly, by far what you said within the past 3 minutes is a lot of people should realize that if you want it bad enough and you want to succeed, you have to plan. Like you said, everybody plans and breaks and time block. So, I think one of the questions I was going to ask you as well is, have you seen yourself sometimes falling back in old habits? And if so, what have you brought yourself? What has helped you, and strategies that help you regain back your mentality?
Oh yeah, I fall back all the time. Like, it's normal,
Me and
right?
you both.
Yeah, like get stressed, or you have something happens that week, anything, and all of a sudden everything blows up.
Yes.
But it again is having an accountability. So have someone in your life that you are accountable to, who checks in on you regularly to say what's going on. And the other was, I'm my own accountability. So the moment my migraine, I can feel that migraine coming, it's like bang for me now. Because by the way, that 25 I used to have, it's this now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that is because I keep an eye on it. So it's maintaining it. So the moment I start eating junk food, what happens? It makes you feel crappy, and then you eat more junk food and it just spirals you down. And that leads me to having a migraine. So the moment I'm like, uh-oh, the migraine's coming, I'm like, okay, what have I eaten the last couple of days? And I'm like, uh-oh. And then I just fix it by just, again, drinking more water, getting more vegetables, and then it's gone. But that's my trigger. Like once that hits, I know. But my accountability buddy, she's awesome, and she's always all like, so what's going on? I'm like, like it's a bad week, or she's like, oh, it's a good week. But but having somebody along, we all like it, the community, the I can't think of the word, but anyway, like we're a community, we're doing this together, and you don't feel alone. So when you do fall off the wagon, that person's there to bring you back onto the wagon with them, with no judgment, no guilt. That's not what accountability is about. They don't start like berating you for not doing it. They just kind of say, okay, here's my hand, come back, let's go. And then it's them, no more shame and guilt with that too. It's just, we're there to help each other bounce off ideas and keep going.
I like that. I guess for the ones that can't find an accountability body, a person, I think one of the things I've learned, and also maybe you disagree or you agree, is that sometimes you are going to fall off, and you have to remember that it's not the end of the world. Like you can pick yourself up, and dust yourself up and just remember your why. Remember why you're doing this. Like your why is like, you don't want to get that 25 migraine. You want to feel good about yourself, right? You want to live life to the fullest and be happy. So if you're going to keep going through a cycle of, just make sure that if you fall once, just get back up. That's all you can do.
Tomorrow's a new day, right?
Yeah. And I think, and for a lot of viewers I know it's true. Like for a lot of viewers are watching this, are like, okay, we're liking what you're saying, Candace, and we want to see your journey. And it seems like you found a way to rediscover the love of food. How could they reach you? Are you on any social media platform or any Facebook or?
Sure. Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
And I have it there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's Kandice Lee Fired Up, but that's basically how you can find me. It's Kandice Lee Fired Up, Instagram, Facebook. I'm also I do some live, so I do them on YouTube as well. So
nice.
So you can see me actually meal prepping and getting it done in like an hour, which I did this morning, and I taped it. You can see it. So yeah, for sure, come follow along and ask your questions, and I would love to help you out with that.
You know what I like about you is that you mention a lot, but you also back up what you're saying. Like you said that you live your life and you live the life the way you want to live, and you find something that works for you. And I commend you. I know it's hard, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to have this conversation with me. Now, before we go, is there anything that you feel that you want to say, or think that people may want to know more about how to rediscover the love of food, or anything you want to lasting thoughts?
Well, just remember to take small steps, and that you are in control of your health. You are the one that can change your life and can do many things. So just know that you're awesome inside, and that you can do this to whatever step or journey you're on. We're here to support you, but you are your own champion, and you're awesome at it.
Oh, I like that. Thank you very much for joining me, Candace. I appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, well, not concerns per se, but if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to comment below. If you want to know more about her meal prepping and how she does it, feel free to follow her or reach out to her directly. If you want her to come back, send me an email, and I'll gladly have Candace come back and talk more about this. All right, thank you. Thank you for joining us today on our weekly episode on Health Your Way podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and please feel free to comment below and ask any questions on topics we've discussed, as well as future topics you'd like to hear about. Have a happy and healthy week, and be sure to tune in next week for the next episode on our Health Your Own Way podcast.